Thank you very much, and thank you, Minister, for coming in here today for this bill. The Criminal Justice Hate Crime Bill is flawed, and its very purpose on creating an offence of hate crime. It is flawed in its principle, and it is flawed in its substance too. It imports identity politics into criminal law, which will prove unworkable, profoundly arbitrary and divisive. The bill is flawed beyond redemption. It is not capable of being amended. This bill seems like a desperate attempt to garner popular support and media attention on the part of Fianna Fáil. Go woke or go broke. That appears to be the strategy of Fianna Fáil in recent years. This is another example of that pathetic strategy, devoid of any true guiding principles, languishing on a historic low of 11% in the opinion polls and registering as a paltry 8% support from under 35s. It really looks like they are going broke. They are being devoured by Sinn Féin on their left and by their new partners Fine Gael on their right-hand side. Turning back to this fundamentally flawed bill, the purpose of which is to create a new criminal offence of hate crime and superimpose it onto specified existing criminal offences. Section 2(1) reads as follows. An offence is aggravated by hate crime against a relevant individual if A, at the time of committing the offence or immediately before or after doing so, a person displays racism, homophobia, xenophobia, anti-religious prejudice or disability hate crime towards a relevant individual. B, the offence is motivated wholly or partly by racist, homophobic, xenophobic, anti-religious prejudice or disability hate crime towards a relevant individual. Section 2 tacks the label of hate crime onto existing crimes as an aggravated factor for the prosecution. The vagueness, breadth and open-ended nature of this provision is quite staggering. I note, for example, that racism, which includes things like antagonism, which is extremely subjective, would be made potentially criminal if anyone claims it. The definition of xenophobia encompasses an accused person having a fear of people from different culture. So fear is potentially a hate crime too in this bill. Homophobia is defined as including negative and uninformed feelings towards homosexuality or individuals who are identified as or perceived as being lesbian, gay, bisexual or transgender. Negative and uninformed feelings. No matter what you think about this bill, how are these negative and uninformed feelings to be proven beyond a reasonable doubt? And what type of evidence is going to be used to shift the evidential burden onto the accused? This is answered in the definition of a hate crime in Section 1, which reads, hate crime includes any offence that is perceived by a victim or any other person to be wholly or partially motivated by prejudice against a relevant individual. This is a very problematic provision. It means that the accused must go into evidence having their privilege against self-incrimination and the right to remain silent brushed aside based on the subjective perception of the victim or any other person. The definition of a relevant person in Section 1 of the bill reads, individuals who are identified on the basis of their asylum or refugee status, nationality, religion or no religion, colour, race, disability, including members of the traveller or normal communities, gender identity and expressions, sexual orientation, transgender identity, sexual characteristics or age or perceived age. Again, this is disturbing and ill-defined. Age or perceived age. Is that not potentially everyone on planet Earth? And whose perception is this based on? Sex characteristics. Does not everybody on planet Earth have sex characteristics? Nationality, religion or no religion, colour or race, again, all of these could apply to literally everyone on the planet, making virtually every relevant offence a potential hate crime. The definition of gender identity and expression appears to omit people who decide that they are non-binary. Do they not deserve the hate crime victim's status too? Regarding sentencing of the accused convicted of a hate crime, Section 3(1) reads as follows. Where it is proven or demonstrated to the satisfaction of the court that a motivating factor for the commission of a relevant offence was aggravated by hate crime against a relevant individual, the court shall, on conviction, What on earth does the phrase "demonstrated to the satisfaction of the court" mean? Have those introducing this bill invented a new alternative standard of proof in criminal cases involving hate crimes? Whatever happened to proof beyond a reasonable doubt? As for the penalty to be imposed by the trial judge, Section 4, in my view, is an unwarranted intrusion by the Oireachtas in judicial discretion when sentencing. It tries to compel a trial judge to impose a maximum sentence on someone convicted of a hate crime. If this is supposed to act as a deterrent, it will not. All the evidence from the fields of criminology point to the likelihood of being apprehended as a deterrent and not the potential sentence. Section 5 is like the rest of the bill, is pointless at best. Trial judges already have considerable latitude when sentencing to make probation orders with a wide range of conditions as they deem appropriate to the offender, the offence and the facts of the case. It is my understanding, for example, that as the law stands, a trial judge could, if they deemed it appropriate to the facts of the particular case, stipulate that an offender must do a course while on probation to educate them in relation to racism. Similarly, this entire bill is unnecessary. To explain, as the law stands, if there is an evidence of racism, that it is relevant to and admissible in a particular case of assault, for example. It can be presented in court by the prosecution for the judge and jury to consider as appropriate. Not only is this bill poorly drafted, ill-conceived, nonsense on stilts, it is equally a manifestation of poisonous identity politics. It is a shameful attempt to corrupt the existing criminal law with this toxic, incoherent ideology for the sake of personal political gain. For this reason, I will be opposing the bill in its current form, and I will be voting against it at committee stage. Thank you.